Hey everybody, and happy Thanksgiving once this video's out. It'll be in about 2 days. But today's drawing was inspired by my youngest, and let's get into it. Ta 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 ta. Here we go. So, Ivan, my youngest, said, "Dad, I want you to draw a monster turkey." And I want it to have, he gave me a little pencil drawing. He wanted it to have a bunch of eyes and sharp teeth and lots of colors. So here we go. I love how turkeys look. They are the weirdest looking things, and just their big bloated heads and all that. So yeah, I kind of felt like I'm drawing a Skeksis from the Dark Crystal. Oh, a little beverage. Oh, there goes me pocket. But this was an easy one. I had a lot of fun drawing this. Not too crazy, I guess. But it got me thinking about Thanksgiving, obviously. And funny thing about turkeys, at least the ones I've been around, my great uncle has a large backyard, which is like a farm, but mostly just with animals. He's always enjoyed having animals. He's had kangaroos and turkeys and Highland cows and sheep and reindeer and pigs, all sorts of birds, sugar gliders. At some point he had monkeys. I wasn't around for any of that. That was when he was younger. He's quite old now. But he's always had turkeys, and turkeys are actually really kind of nice, and they like people. And his daughter has a preschool there. That's where all my kids went to preschool, and the kids always love to like pet the turkeys and hug the turkeys and all that. And the turkeys are kind of like just big dogs, like following them around and wanting to know what everyone's up to. So at least domesticated turkeys are those ones, they seem pretty cool. I can understand why someone not familiar with them would be a little put off having one get up in their face. But as far as Thanksgiving goes, I'm not a big turkey fan. I don't, I like turkey lunch meat. I don't mind ground turkey if I season it enough. But just like big hunks of turkey is just not my thing. You see those big turkey legs at a Renaissance fair, and all I can think of is how dry they probably are once you get through the skin. My mom has done a couple really good turkeys. One of them, she straight up just like bathed it in butter. It was the funniest thing. She's like, there was butter on the skin, under the skin, inside. So I'm like, if that's what it takes to make a turkey palatable, I'm more of a let's do steak, yo. Let's obviously that's not within everyone's budget. But the things I do love about Thanksgiving, I love gravy. I love stuffing. I like mashed potatoes, but what I really like are funeral potatoes. I don't know if they call them that where you guys are from. They might just be called like a potato casserole or something. It's like, cheesy, creamy, shredded potatoes with, a layer of essentially cornflakes on top. They are primarily made for funerals out here, but I love them all the time. And so I'm always campaigning for that. We're not doing it this year, but we're going to do it for Christmas. So I will survive. Hey. I know my editor really enjoys the sweet potato casseroles with either brown sugar or marshmallows on top, but it's kind of fun that he likes those, because he used to be very not into those particular textures. or just potatoes in general. So it's fun to see him enjoy more and have a bigger palate. He enjoys cooking. He recently made fancy mushroom sandwiches for his group of friends and made the sauce and all that. And apparently, the way my wife described it, she said it sounds like a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving where, it's a bunch of friends getting together and just eating just whatever. They had like hot dogs and all sorts of stuff, I guess. That's really cool. I was jelly. I love the idea of just getting together with friends, and I do miss that aspect of school. Mostly just the social part. But yeah, so Thanksgiving, stories relating to Thanksgiving. I think the most interesting thing, at least when I was younger, when it came to Thanksgiving, was like at school when we'd learn about it, and the the sort of, I don't know, visuals that came with it. The pilgrims were people in these, big black outfits with starched collars and big buckles on their belts and their shoes and their hats, and and the natives were, what you'd think of as natives in the Hollywood pictures, big, leather vests with beads and feathers and face paint, all that jazz. And what was kind of fun was, I remember, I think it was second or third grade, for Thanksgiving, for the, not the day of, obviously, but, whenever we were going to do it at school, we were assigned, half the class were pilgrims and the other half were the natives, the Indians. and I was assigned, I was an Indian. So, little white boy me goes home and gets a brown paper sack, cuts up one side and puts armholes in it, and that was my vest, and that's what we all did. So it's really funny to look back at pictures of us crackers just dressed like Indians, and I look at that and I go, well, I can't run for public office. And I can relate when other people are like, it was a different time. Oh my. But having since then, spent a lot of time around First Peoples and Native Americans, whatever they, wish to be called, on like the reservations around, or when I was living in Oklahoma, in the Chickasaw and Choctaw nations. They have a lot more interesting stories around Thanksgiving, I would say. And obviously by the time it's gotten to us, the story of Thanksgiving is more of a commercial thing than what actually happened. They probably ate corn and fish and all that, but it's still an interesting thing. I like the social trend where people say something they're thankful for each day, and just having that kind of attitude and a giving attitude, blending into Christmas. It's nice. I like it. Working in a large retail store, I get to see a lot of the purchasing for that, and it's, man, people have big families, I tell you what. The most of the time, these last few years, it's been me, my folks, my kids and spouse, and then my one brother and his family. So it's not a gigantic sort of thing, which I prefer. I don't like when it's too big. I love eating a bunch of junk, and then we usually find something to watch on TV. My brother is very fond of like card games and board games, so he usually provides the entertainment, and so my kids hop on that. My role is usually to lay on the couch in a coma, shouting the correct answers to the trivia that they're playing and getting yelled at. Man, I love doing it. One Thanksgiving that really stands out to me that I remember was, it's Thanksgiving. My parents are like, all right, get in the car, we're going. Like, where are we going? Well, we're having Thanksgiving with our friends. Like, oh, cool. And then we drove for a while, and it's like, so where do our friends live? They're far away. We'll get there. And, leading us on, kind of, dodging the questions. And eventually we start pulling into like a large parking structure. And my dad says, all right, we're almost there. Are you guys ready to see our friends? And we're like, well, who's our friends? We're like, well, it's Donald and Mickey. And my parents drove us to Disneyland for Thanksgiving. Not a long drive from where we lived, but nevertheless a big surprise. It was pretty cool. Best part, no turkey. I think I had like chicken skewers from one of the restaurants there, and well, yeah, just spending a day at Disneyland on Thanksgiving was just really cool. Not the norm. Because I remember we had Thanksgiving at like another family's house, once before, so it wasn't completely odd, that sort of thing. But it was neat, and it's definitely a memory I always remember, and it's nice. Disneyland was fun. Yeah. Hope you guys all have a good Thanksgiving, and that it's enjoyable and safe, and that you don't get into a fist fight in a parking lot on Black Friday over a TV that's cheaper than usual. I don't really do Black Friday shopping. I most of our Christmas shopping gets done online, so it's a lot easier to deal with rather than crowds. Me no likey crowds. But what sort of traditions do you guys have? Do you have any interesting dishes you make each year, or is there a typical activity? I know some people get together and play, like football in the mornings or that sort of thing. But I can't think of many odd traditions I would have, other than I like funeral potatoes. And, for a few years, we would go out and watch like whatever horror movie was in theaters. I remember seeing The Mist with my wife one Thanksgiving. Anyway, thanks for hopping on, joining in, listening. Appreciate you guys. Subscribe if you haven't. I try to be pretty consistent with my uploads. It's almost I've almost been doing this for a year. So, see if we just keep going. I don't know. Anywho, have a good holiday. Thanks. Bye.